Okay, let's review for our factoring quiz slash test tomorrow. You can use this sheet. I'll have that on your desk and a calculator. So this is what you have to do. You have to break this into as many factors as you possibly can. So there's either going to be 2 terms or 3 terms. This first one looks like it has 2. Okay, so with 2 terms we do the GCF and then the DOPS, okay? Remember, DOPS stands for difference of perfect squares. Okay, so how to check for a GCF? You check for the negative in the front. We actually have it here, so we want to put a negative in our GCF. Now check if everything has x. Well, this negative 5 has x to the second and 25 has x to the first, so everything does have x of some kind. So we want to take the smaller x to the smaller power out of here. Notice how I leave some room between the negative sign and the x because I need to leave room for my number. Then I see what 5 and 25, the largest number that they're divisible by. That means evenly divided. Okay, and the GCF's 5. Okay, so the negative 5x to the first goes out here. I put a parentheses around it, and then I go divide by negative 5x to the first. Okay, now I divide negative 5 by negative 5. I just divide the big numbers, and I get 1. And then for the x variable, I minus the exponent. So I take 2 minus 1, which is 1. Okay, then I take positive 25. Divided by negative 5, and I get negative 5. So I put a 5 with a minus sign because it's negative. Okay, and then since these have the same power, we just cross those out. Okay, now we see if we have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, remember how to check for that. You check for x to the, see if you have, and by the way, after you're done with the GCF, after you've done this and filled this out, cross that out. You don't want to look up there anymore. Because now you're looking at these 2 things for the DOPS, okay? So do you have an x to the second power? No, you don't. Your x is to the first power, so that makes DOPS not possible, okay? And then this is the answer up here. Just stop right there. And then those first powers, if you have powers of 1, just get rid of them. Okay, that's my answer. Negative 5x times 1x minus 5. Okay, now my next problem, I count the terms, 1, 2, and 3. That's 3 terms. So that's going to be the GCF and then my T table. Okay, so the GCF, again, same way, you check for the negative on the front number. The 1 is not negative, so our GCF cannot be negative. Check if everything has x. So the 1 has x to the second, the negative 6 has x to the first, and then the negative 27 doesn't have anything. So I can't have x because that 27 would not have an x to take from. Then GCF calculate 1, 6, 27. Okay, I just got a 1, so that means if the GCF's 1, we're not going to do it. Okay, so I don't want to cross that out then because I did not do the GCF. Okay, so now when I do my table, I need an A, a B, and a C. And I need to times the A to the C. So what am I multiplying? I'm multiplying positive 1 times negative 27, and that's negative 27. So since I got a negative, it's a minus problem, and I'm trying to minus to 6, 6 being negative. Okay, 127, that does not minus to 6. Okay, now we try to divide 27 by 2, and that's a decimal. Now divide 27 by 3, we get 9, okay? Okay, then I minus 9 minus 3. I got 6, okay, so that's right. It's these 2. So now I have to put the appropriate signs. Now 6 being negative like it is means that the 9 is negative. And then having a negative with that product 27 means that the signs have got to be the opposite. Okay, so positive. Okay, now when I'm making these parentheses, I have to look up at what I labeled A. I labeled A 1x to the second. So I'm going to make two sets of parentheses, okay? And I start the first set with 1x, 1x, and then plus 3 minus 9. Okay, then I see what I can divide 1 and 3 by. I'm guessing all I can do is 1 because whenever I punch 1 in, so I got 1, okay? So it's 1x plus 3 times, and then 1 and 9, that's going to be 1 as well, okay? So that's 1, so I divide down here, and that stays 1x minus 9. Okay, now look in the GCF box. You didn't put anything here, so I don't need to put anything right here, and that's the answer. 1x plus 3 times 1x minus 9. Okay, moving right along. Okay, in my next problem, there are two terms. So it's GCF, and then I see if GCF, and then I see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Okay, my GCF, do I have a negative in front? I don't. Do I have X on both? Nope, 9 doesn't have it, okay? Now use your GCF calculator to find the greatest common factor of 16 and 9. Okay, that gives me a 1 GCF. So if the GCF's 1, we just don't do it. So we need to keep this up here. Need something to look at. Okay, now your DOPS, okay? Check for your x to the second. Well, I still have x to the second, so I put x and x. And then is our second number negative? Yeah, 9's negative. With that minus sign, that means the 9 is a negative. Now turn this paper over and see if the numbers are perfect. So is 16 perfect? Yeah, here's 16. It's 4 times 4. So I put 4, 4. Is 9 perfect? Yeah, 9's perfect, 3 and 3. Okay, so these are my factors. I don't have a GCF, so that's it. 4x plus 3 times 4x minus 3. Okay, fourth one. 8x to the second power plus 18x minus 5. Okay, this is 3 terms. So when I go to factor this, I'll be making my GCF. And then setting up my t-table. So GCF, same 3 things. Check for the negative in the front. I don't have one. Check if everything has x. So we have x to the second with the 8. We have x to the first with the 18. And then negative 5 doesn't have an x, so I don't put x. Now GCF calculator, you're 8, 18, and 5. Oops, my bad. I punched in the wrong numbers. 8, 18, and 5. Okay, the GCF was 1, so since it is 1, I just don't do it. Okay. Then I go to my t-table, so A, B, and C. So I multiply A times C all the time. Multiply it to find what you're putting up here. You multiply A times C. Okay, I got 40, which is a negative. So another negative means I do another minus. And that minus needs to come to 18, which is positive. Well, 1 and 40 are factors, but 40 minus 1 is not 18, so it can't be those. 40 divided by 2 is 20. And 20 minus 2 is 18, so I can use these two factors. The 20 would have to be plus to match the 18, that's plus. We have a negative up there, so the signs again have to be the opposite. Okay, so positive and negative. Okay. Now, what is A? A is 8x to the second power. Okay, so I make two parentheses, and I put 8x, 8x, and then the minus 2 and the plus 20. Okay, so 8 and 2. Those can be divided by 2. Okay, so I divide them down by 2, and that becomes 4x minus 1. Then 8 and 20, I want to find what those can divide by. And those can be divided by 4. Okay, so I divide these down by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2x. Positive 20 divided by 4 is going to be positive 5. Okay. And we did not have a GCF, so it's 4x minus 1 times 2x plus 5. Okay, next problem. You have two terms, so you're back to making the GCF box. And then we're going to see if we have a difference of perfect squares. Question mark. Those are difference of perfect squares, always two parentheses with a plus and a minus. So the GCF, check the front, negative in front, and we have one. So it's negative. Okay, and then I check everything has x. Now, x is seconds there, but 27 has no x, so I can't use x. GCF calculate 3 and 27. I got 3. Okay, so negative 3 is your GCF, but it's just negative 3. So I pull out negative 3, then I go up and divide by negative 3. Okay, so negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. Okay, and then I don't put an x down there, so the x here stays to the second. And then I divide 27 by negative 3, I get negative 9. So I just put a 9 with a minus. Okay, now cross this out because we actually did this box. So now I'm just looking at this and this, this and this. So we check for the x to the second, and it's still there. Okay, so it's x and x. Is my second number negative? Yeah, 9's negative. Okay. Now turn this paper over and see if the numbers are perfect. 1 and 9. I don't care about that. I'm looking at this and this. So 1's here, that's 1 times 1. And 9's on here, that's 3 times 3. So 1x plus 3 times 1x minus 3. And when we have a GCF, we need to pull negative 3 down. Okay, that GCF has to drop down. So that's the three factors. Negative 3 times 3x plus 3 times 1x plus 3 times 1x minus 3. Okay, next. That is 3 terms. So now we're going back to the GCF. And then my table. Okay, now my greatest common factor. Now again, I don't have a negative in front. Does everything have x? Well, we have x to the second, x to the first, but no x on 30, so I can't put x. Now GCF calculates 16, 4, and 30. Okay, that's 2. So I have a GCF of 2. So I put 2 here because that's a factor. Then I divide all these by 2, but I'm just dividing by 2 here. So all the x's will keep their powers. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then positive 4 divided by 2 is 2, positive 2. So it's, and then the 8 is x to the second, I should say. Then positive 4 divided by positive 2 is 2. So plus 2. And then the x is to the first. And then I take negative 30 divided by 2, which is negative 15. So 15 minus. Okay, now cross this out. Okay, now I ABC these three that are together in the parentheses, not up here. So I multiply the 8 by negative 15. And that gives me negative 120. So I got another negative, so that again makes this a minus. And I'm trying to minus to get 2, which is positive. 1 and 120, that does not minus to 2. This one's a grinder. Okay. 2 and 60. 60 minus 2 is not 2. 3 and 40. 40 minus 3 is not 2, obviously. Okay, divide it by 4. 4 and 30. 30 minus 4 is not 2. 120 divided by 5. 5 and 24. Still not 2. Don't give up, though. 120 divided by 6 is 20. 20 minus 6 is not 2. 7's a decimal, so skip 7, go to 8. Okay. 8 and 15. 15 minus 8 is not 2. Okay, so these two. 9's a decimal. Skip it, and then go to 10. Then you get 10 and 12. 12 minus 10 is 2, so it's those two. Now 2 is positive, so 12 is positive. And then we have a negative, so this is opposite signs once again. Okay. Okay, now I found the numbers. Now I set up my parentheses. A is 8x to the second. Okay, it's 8. So I make those parentheses. I go 8x, 8x, and then minus 10 and plus 12. Okay, 8 and 10. Those are both divisible by 2. Okay, so I divide by 2, and that's 4x minus 5. 8 and 12. Those are divisible by 4. Okay, that's 2x plus 3. Now I did have a GCF, so I need to drop the GCF down with my answer, because that 2 is part of the factorization. So 2 times 4x minus 5 times 2x plus 3. That wasn't a real fun one. Okay, next problem. 4x to the second power minus 12x. So again, 2 terms. Okay, so GCF, and then I see if I have a difference of perfect squares. Plus, minus. Okay, so I have do I have a negative in front? No, I don't. Now make sure everything has x. You have x second and x to the first. So x is on both lines, so I put x to the smaller power down here. And then I check out 4 and 12. And the GCF's 4. Okay. So 4x to the first goes out here in a parentheses, and then I divide by 4x to the first. And these x's that are to the same power, remember, we don't have to worry about those. Okay, so 4 divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay. Then on x, we take 2 minus 1, which is 1 here. And then I take negative 12 divided by 4, which is negative 3. So I put minus 3. Cross that out. Now, check for the x to the second. And I'm looking in this second parentheses, but I don't see an x to the second. That makes this NP. Okay, and the factoring ends here. Take those first powers out, though. In your final answer, if you have first powers, take them out, because this is where our answer's at. Okay, next one, I have 1x to the second minus 4x minus 12. That makes 3 terms. GCF. and then my table. Okay, so GCF, check for the negative in front, it's not there. Check if everything has x. We have x to the second, negative 4 is to the x to the first, and 12 doesn't have an x, so I don't put x. Okay, then I calculate what the GCF of 1, 4, and 12 is. And it's 1. Okay, so since the GCF's 1, I don't do this. So I can't cross this out then. Okay, now, A, B, C. So I take positive 1 times negative 12. Negative 12. So I got another negative, so this is a minus. We want that minus to equal 4, which is negative. 1 and 12. 12 minus 1 is not 4. 2 and 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have 4, which is a negative, so 6 is negative. And then we have a negative up here, so it's opposite, okay? And then positive. Okay, so A is 1x to the second. So again, I go 1, 1, x, x, and then plus 2 minus 6. Okay, 1 and 2. So 1 comma 2 is just 1, okay? So divide by 1 and it stays the same, 1x plus 2. Okay, 1 and 6. So the GCF's 1. And that stays the same, 1x minus 6. Okay, see if there's a GCF to drop down. There's not, so this is my answer. 1x plus 2 times 1x minus 6. Okay, next one, 9x to the second power minus 64. Okay, so there are two terms here. So again, GCF and DOPS. Okay, GCF, the 9's not negative. We don't have x on everything, so now I just calculate 9 and 64 and see if there's at least a number I can do. It's 1, so I'm not going to do anything. Okay, nice. DOPS again, check for x to the second. Well, we have it, so we put x and x. Is my second number negative? 64 is my second number, it's negative. So I turn this paper over and see if the numbers are perfect. So 9's my first number, it's perfect, 3 times 3, so it's going to be 3x, 3x. And then after the plus and minus, look up 64, that's here, that's 8 times 8. So I have 3x minus 8 plus 8 times 3x minus 8. There's no GCF. That's the answer. Okay, next problem, 12x to the second power minus 4x minus 5. Okay, this has 3 terms. GCF and then my table. So the GCF, again, same idea. Checking the negative in front, not there. Check if everything has x, x second, x first, and nothing, so nope. Now GCF calculate your 12, 4, and 5. I got 1, okay, so 1 being the GCF means I don't have to do it. So the ABC labels come up here, okay. So I take positive 12 times negative 5, and that's negative 60. So getting a negative means it's a minus, and minus needs to equal 4, which is negative. Okay. 1 and 60, no. 2, 30. 30 minus 2 is not 4. 3 and 20. 20 minus 3 is not 4. Okay, 4 and 15. 15 minus 4 is not 4, it's 11. 5 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. That's closer. 6 and 10. If you take 10 minus 6, it's 4. So 4 being negative means 10's negative, and having a and then the product was negative, so the signs have to be opposite. Go A equals 12 this time, 12x to the second. Okay, so I go 12x, then plus 6 minus 10. Okay. Okay, so what can I divide 12 and 6 by? I think 6. Okay. So it's going to become 2x plus 1. Then 12 and 10. If you don't know what it divides to, use your calculator. That's 2. See, all you have to do is use your calculator. 12 divided by 2 is 6x. And then negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So minus 5. No GCF, so I don't put anything down here. This is my answer at the end. 2x plus 1 times 6x minus 5. It's kind of a process more than an answer. Okay, negative 4x to the second plus 16. That's 2 terms. So again, find your GCF, and then you'll see if you have a difference of perfect squares. Remember, the DOPS is always a plus and a minus. So GCF, check for the negative in front, and it's there. Check if everything has x. No, it doesn't. 16 doesn't. Now, GCF calculate 4 and 16. It doesn't let you punch in negatives, so you just punch in the numbers. Okay, and 4 is the GCF, just a negative 4. We're not going to put an x, though, so it's just negative 4 that I divide by. So then I go up and divide by negative 4. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. Okay. And then I don't have an x down here, so that x needs to stay to the second power. Then I divide positive 16 by negative 4, and I get negative 4. So I put minus 4. Cross out. And then when I do the DOPS, I'm looking at these two things. Okay. Check for your x to the second. You got to have x to the second. It's there. So x is the second number negative? You betcha. 4 is negative. Turn this paper over, see if the numbers are perfect. Okay, so remember, it's these two numbers. I don't care about that one. 1 and 4. 1's perfect. That's 1 times 1. 4's perfect. That's 2. Okay, now you do want to drop this GCF down, okay? Because we didn't really do anything with it, so we just put it in front of our answer. Okay, 3x a second minus 15x minus 72. That looks like 3 of them to me. GCF equals... and table. So GCF, again, remember how you do it, you figure out a GCF. 3 things. Check for the negative in front, it's not there. Check if everything has x, you got x to the second, x to the first, but not an x there, so you can't put x. GCF calculate 315 and 72. Okay, I got 3. So we're just going to put the number 3 out here, then I go divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. Since I don't have x down here, that x I just keep to the second. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5, so minus 5. And again, we just keep that x to the first. And then negative 72 divided by 3 is negative 24. So minus 24. Now cross that out, and then your ABC comes from this second parentheses now. So I take 1 times negative 24. I got negative 24. Having a negative means this is another minus, which we've been getting a lot of, 5, which is negative. 1 and 24, 24 minus 1 is not 5. Okay, you don't have to be great in mental math to know that that's not true. Okay, 2 and 12, 12 minus 2 is not 5, that's 10. Okay, 3 and 8, 3, I got 8, the number I divided by the answer I got. 8 minus 3 is 5, so you got it. 5 is negative, meaning the 8's negative, and negative up here means the signs have to be opposite again. Okay. Now go look at what your A was. Your A was 1x to the second. Okay, so that means when I make the parentheses, I'm just going 1x, 1x, and then plus 3 minus 8. Now you can punch those into your calculator, but I'm telling you now, they're both going to give you GCFs of 1, okay? So that stays the same. 1 and 8, it's going to be 1 again. That's 1x minus 8. You can do your calculator if you want. Now we will need to drop our GCF factor down to make that the whole thing. Okay, then the last problem, the reason I'm putting this on, because we didn't get many adds on the table. This is 3 terms, okay? So 3 means it's the GCF and the table. Okay, negative in front, nope. X second, X first, and nothing. So I don't put X, so now it's up to 4, 9, and 5. I just got a 1 here. Don't do it then. So you won't have anything here. Now, so the ABC takes place here instead of here. Okay, so I multiply positive 4 by positive 5 this time, and I finally get a positive. Positive 20. So this makes this an add problem instead of a minus, because I got positive, and I'm adding to 9, which is positive. 1 and 20. 20 plus 1 is not 9. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay. 2 plus 10 is 12. It's not 9. Decimal, and now do 4. So 4 and 5. 5 plus 4 is 9, okay? So 9's positive, that means 5's positive. And when we have a positive up here, the signs need to be the same. So positive 5, positive 4. Okay, now A up here is 4x to the second, so it's the same song and dance. 4x, 4x, plus 4, plus 5. Okay, now 4 and 4, GCF's 4, so we're going to divide each one of these by 4. That's going to be 1x plus 1, okay? 4 and 5 is 1, okay? So, same thing, 4x plus 5. GCF's not here, so 1x plus 1 times 4x plus 5.